Hi all, welcome to episode number 4 of the Trading to Glory. This one is a pretty bulky episode as I kind of now get into the depths of building up the club. This is kind of where we will spend the next few episodes kind of bulking up the club, focusing on a number of set methods that I've used consistently throughout the year. So hopefully you find this useful, folks. Let me know in the comments down below how your coin balance is looking, and we will hopefully be able to make you some good coins into the process, explaining of what we're doing. So this is going to take a fair bit of time of explaining, but also to give you the full gist of what we're doing and why we're doing this. So basically I am working, usually a lot of people that do this method, it's the no risk method of buying players, but usually a lot of people like to go from front to back in terms of going the big 5 leagues first and then going through the small leagues that way. I prefer going the other way, of starting from like the small leagues to go to the big leagues. So what I'm doing is starting off with the Czech league. I'm not going to show you every single league that I'm doing. When I looked over the initial footage, it was at least double this, and I thought, for about half an hour's worth of recording, I thought you may find it a bit tedious, but at the same time it would give you an idea of the non-rare golds within the league. Now the thing is as well, I'm not just focusing on non-rare golds. Where I can, I want to get the rare golds in, as long as I know that they can, not if they say can just sell. I can bite my tongue on the ones that don't sell, because you would make your profit back on buying these players in bulk. What I try to do is, if I've not got the player, I want to buy multiples. So what I aim for is between 10 and 12 players. It will usually depend if I know what the sell on of that card is. If I know generally the card sells for say 400 coins, I will then generally aim for about 10. I want one in the club to keep and the rest will just be sold. But I don't try and sell 10 or 12 at a time. I will try and sell them pretty quickly, but you try and ensure that you get them all up pretty quickly, and then usually if there is a bit of demand on that card, they will sell, and then sometimes you may have to relist, but it's not too often, I've noticed, when I've been doing the method so far. So with the Czech league, you've got Kremenek, Heita, Stanku, and you also have Masopust. Now Masopust is the best card to trade with in the league from the non-rare 75s. He generally sells for 500-600 coins, and what you'll find out right away, if I'm selling him at 500 coins, that's when your profit suddenly of buying 10 of them suddenly bulks up quite nicely. Now in the Austrian league's case, you've only got Romalo, and then I realised pretty quickly I already had Romalo only after that couple that I'd bid for. I was like, oh, when I go and try and sort them out, I was like, oh well, we've turned out we already had them. I wasn't too fussed at the time, but basically Masopust, the 4 Czech league players that I didn't have, they're now back. They're now in the club, and then we will just sell everything else. So everyone gets sold minimum start price 350, buy now 400. If they're it's not just a desirable player, but if it's a position that's got a bit more selling power about it, then you will find that they sell that little bit more. Some of the 75 non-rares sell for, like, the most expensive one I've seen that I've been able to sell so far is 1.2k. I think somebody just overpaid it. I accidentally listed it up for 350 to 10,000. Complete mistake, and it went for 1200. And it turned out, after I saw who had sold, it turned out people in various Discords and Twitter groups were trying to push this player as one to buy, when in reality the player had no intention of growing whatsoever. The player was about a 400 or 500 coin card. It was just people just trying to profit off the card. So what I'm trying to do is, initially you'll see that I try and go through the players of trying to list, but with like Masopust, I try to hold off listing all of him in bulk right away. But I know with everyone that I can generally sell right away 354. I don't have to break sweat. If I'm struggling with any of them, I'd go 350. But the only time you generally go 350 is if it's like what I call a dead league. If they're not going to have any, like, say, SBCs at all. like the Czech League will have like marquee matchups, and you may see them feature in, say, like the UCL, like say like road to the final cards like we had Baluta last year. So you may see cards suddenly pop up from there. Like Kanga could be a nice card actually with a road to the final like card if he was to say happen, or someone that was a decent player within, someone that's got a decent card within the league. If they were to suddenly get the right type of starting like live item card, then it suddenly makes them a little bit more appealing to kind of just work with. But you've just got to be patient. Like I would say in terms of leagues that generally you don't see big jumps on are the South African League. That's probably the only, and you can't really say, you wouldn't say like the Swedish, Danish leagues, because they obviously will have like requirements usually, but it's usually when the seasons are finished is then when these leagues become a bit more dead. So I'm taking a little bit of time with this one just so that you get the clearest idea of what we're kind of rinsing through. Now, massive boost for 500. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, it's only about 170 coins, G. I'm not, it's not for me. The thing is, if you're getting 10 of him, and you've got, say, even if you've already got him in the club, that's basically 1700 coin profit for very little effort. Like, if you're happy to, like sometimes if you're trying to bid the players, the earliest one might be 40 seconds, like, closest might have 40 seconds, and then one might have, say, 10 minutes. If you're happy to wait within that 10 minutes, you're going to be sorted. There's nothing too strenuous to worry about. Now, Ramalho, obviously, as we showed earlier, we're not going to go for him. Now, in the UAE League, they have one guy called Kaio, who is the only goal within the league, and he is a rare. So what I want to do is, in his case, like, because he's a good nation in Brazil, now the league will not feature in marquee matchups, and will not have a League SB unless it suddenly drops a League SBC, but I doubt it because it's just one team. Then the only way like Kaio's going to have a use is if like either something that involves Brazil for like SBCs, where it'd be like a national pride, or say a South American flavour, something that just incorporates Brazil. If there was something like say 11, like you get the advanced SBCs, like 11 advanced, like 11 leagues of one nation, but all 11 players have to be rare, say for example. And if there's exactly goal but no ratings, then someone like Kyle becomes a very good player to trade with. But at 600, it's going to be hard for me to know if there's going to be too much profit on him. It might be 700, it might be 800. I honestly, it will always vary depending on the day and time. Now, in the Ukrainian league's case, there's a lot of individual good players to kind of go with. Franz Sol, for example, if you can get him, then I've noticed he generally sells for like 500-600 coins. Even though sometimes when you're watching bids or bins of him, or buy it nows of him, he's like 400, 450, and you've got to get him. Like Konoplyanka's another good one as well, but he's very, very difficult to get for 300. There's a lot of players that you will struggle to get for 300. It's trying to just be like, right, let's get the more common players like Kiadzora, Kadar's a quite a good one as well to get kind of in, because like, and then going from there, the South African league is, as I said, this is just Bilat. Bilat's the only player that's 375. Sorry, you've got the goalie as well. He is 76 rated, but Bilat, you only really need one of them because you regularly will sell him for 350. So he's not the most exciting buy in the world, sadly. But with the Scottish Premiership, you've got Rogic, Brown, Christie, Morelos to kind of work your teeth into. Morelos is the one that generally sells the most, I've noticed so far, for like 450, 500. But generally, every league will consistently have its players that will sell for a little bit more. McGregor as well. I knew I nearly forgot someone else. Joys of first page you don't always see them, and sometimes you can get a wee pile. Now, like, the reason why I'm trying to do this is because I want to focus on club value, but at the same time we try and focus on bulking up the club. Now, a lot of people don't like going, oh, the non-rare method, but like the amount of Discords I like share this through and Twitters, I basically explain that this is paying off nicely. Now, is this the first or second? I didn't show my Turkish league buys, I noticed, but Gilhelmi, I was getting him for 6 and selling him for 9. Turkish league's another good league to kind of work with, if you can get them. Thiago Pinto's like a 450, 500 sale, but that's a good wide mix of players. That's a lot of pages of players. Now, you'll notice with the coin balance that we're not obviously getting up drastically because we're spending a lot on bringing players in. Now, the aim is that we will get the coin balance back up, but we're trying to at the same time not drastically drain the coins to the point where, oh, I'm short. Because you've got to remember, if we're selling, say, 70, 80 players, but then we've bought 50, then you've got to obviously, the 80 that you're trying to sell, they will generally sell pretty quick. The longest I've seen for any is around 20 minutes, but that's because there might be a few that price at say 400, or there's people just generally not interested in that card. Like, I've seen players that are at 500, if you're listing at 4, there might be absolutely no interest in that player whatsoever, and you've just got to kind of just wait, bite your tongue. But as I said, Balat's a 350. I'm wasting my time trying to sell him at 4 because I've consistently seen that he does not sell for 400. The only people that will buy him for 4 are the lazy buyers, sadly, but I'm not putting him up for an hour when there's no guarantee that he will sell. So I'd rather just give him for 350, take the 30 odd coin profit, it's profit end of the day, and I'll just bite my tongue and just kind of move on from there. So, and that's kind of generally what I mean. If you've got like say 50 that you've just bought, and you've got, as I said, 70, 80, so you've got maybe say 20, 30k waiting to sell in terms of coins, but maybe after the profits it might be say 40 or 50k, but then time you've got the stuff that's been bought, it's another like 20k, 15, my maths just went there, 15k, sorry, because it's obviously 50 players at 300, so you've spent 15k, but if you're going for the rares at 6, then obviously you're spending considerably more. At 50 you're spending 30k. So depending how you operate it with like the Argentinian league, I've noticed some of the players sell for 450, but generally they're 4s. The only ones I've noticed at 450 are the teams where if they've maybe only got either one player that's in that position, or it's a higher rated player in that position. If it makes say the route easy to build, then that is where I've noticed the coins kind of just work a treat. So Argentinian league, we'd assume this year should feature again for the league SBC, and I've noticed with a lot of leagues this year there's a lot more golds to work with. So the Argentinian league has a lot more golds. The rare gold 75, you've only got Roa and Jimenez. Both don't sell for 650, so just if you need them, take them at 6 and move on from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to once we've finished rinsing through these players, we'll be wrapping it up fairly shortly, and then I'll kind of showcase where we're at with the latest profits and spend. Now I will aim to do this with all the leagues, folks, so I'm doing, this is about the first third of the leagues that I've worked through. I'm aiming to spend all week working through every league, all the leagues basically, so by the end of the week we should be a few more episodes in. Hopefully the coin balance is up, but we'll also just be showing how everything's been paying off for us. So definitely I would say, and as you can see we've now got the full transfer list. It'll probably just be a case of going to transfer list, clear what's sold, which is quite a few. The Saudi league, I made a few under sales. I was actually underselling Gilhelmi for 4 when he was, I think at the time he was 450, 500. It was a mistake on my part, but I wasn't going to knock the profit regardless, and also I've just tried to get him out of the club pretty quickly. So just to kind of wrap up there, folks, in terms of everything, there's the Saudi that we're trying to sell. So just to wrap up, at the Pro League for where we're at, that's the Belgian League. We started off at 114, we're now at 125k. That just kind of shows how much buying we have made over the course of the day on all the leagues from like Belgium, Switzerland, Saudi, etc. So we've done like Rika, Demata, Ritz, Zufi from Swiss League. So we've done really well. We've only got one player I've seen that's not sold, which is Demata. I made a mistake there. I'd list him at 650 to 10 when I meant to list him at 650 for 700. But I hope you found this useful, folks. As I said, let me know in the comments down below what methods you've been using. Hopefully you found this useful. Smash likes always, sub to channel, you know. Catch you all later, folks, for more trading glory and content on the channel.